In this video, we delve into Prime Minister Keir Starmer's strategic decision to engage with the European Union, marking a significant shift from the UK's post-Brexit isolation. We explore the implications of this move on UK-EU relations, especially in light of President Donald Trump's recent threats of additional tariffs. Through a detailed narrative, we examine the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for the UK as it navigates its position between the EU and the United States. In a significant diplomatic development, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has taken a decisive step to re-engage with the European Union, attending a meeting of the European Council in Brussels. This marks the first time in 5 years that a UK leader has participated in such an event since the implementation of Brexit. The informal dinner, held at the Palais, serves as a platform to discuss European defence and the collaboration between the EU and the UK, particularly in supporting Ukraine and implementing new sanctions against Vladimir Putin. Palais.com. Starmer's attendance underscores his commitment to strengthening military and economic cooperation with the EU, aiming to avoid potential trade conflicts with the United States under President Donald Trump. Despite promises of a reset in relations with the EU, Starmer faces internal challenges, including concerns from the UK's right-wing populists and expectations from pro-Brexit Labour voters. The EU anticipates gestures of goodwill from London, such as increased flexibility in youth mobility and concessions on fishing rights. In parallel, President Trump has threatened to impose additional tariffs on the EU, accusing it of being very out of place in its trade practices. This follows the imposition of 25% tariffs on products from Mexico and Canada and 10% on Chinese goods. Trump criticizes the EU for not accepting American agricultural products and automobiles to the same extent that the US accepts European goods. In contrast, Trump appears optimistic about trade relations with the UK, having praised Prime Minister Starmer. Cadenasser.com. The EU has acknowledged its dependence on the United States despite Trump's tariff threats, emphasizing the importance of dialogue and cooperation. Kaja Kallas, the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs, highlighted that, although not agreeing with some of Trump's actions, maintaining a friendly relationship is essential. The EU seeks to align its foreign policy with the US in the face of common threats like Russia and China. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, while reaffirming the need to cooperate with the US, also mentioned that the EU could respond with its own tariffs if necessary. Spanish Foreign Minister José Manuel Albares believes that avoiding a trade confrontation is best for both parties. Cadenasser.com. The potential for a trade war between the EU and the UK could strain the recovery of relations between the two, especially considering the UK's recent exit from the EU. The UK government is aware that Trump's words have a siren call. Greater flexibility in allowing the entry of American products into the British market, especially agricultural and livestock, would immediately lead to greater misalignment with EU norms and standards. The British government has rejected Brussels' attempts to promote a new youth mobility scheme, which would allow individuals under 30 on both sides of the English Channel to engage in work or academic exchanges for a limited time. The proposal brings to mind the freedom of movement that the UK enjoyed when it was part of the EU, one of the reasons that mobilized the vote in favour of Brexit. The Labour government repeatedly states that leaving the EU is a fait accompli and that there will never be a return to the single market or the EU customs union. However, Brexit remains a wound that has not yet healed and requires political gestures to be cauterized. Palais.com. In summary, Prime Minister Keir Starmer's engagement with the European Union represents a strategic move to rebuild bridges and strengthen cooperation in the face of external pressures, particularly from the United States. This development highlights the complex interplay between national interests, international relations, and the evolving geopolitical landscape.